Should you ever happen upon a bar out in the middle of nowhere on your travels, with a sign that reads, "Greatest Comedian Ever," do not stop. Move on past and count yourself among the lucky. You'll never have to know the horrors of what occur in that bar. Nobody knows for sure where it will show up. What happens inside that bar is equally a mystery. Some believe demonic spirits reside in the bar, claiming the souls of all who enter. Some believe it's a normal bar with a curse laid upon it by Native American or voodoo spirits. And some think it leads to a place beyond our perception of reality at all. What is clear is that those unfortunate enough to miss the sign or foolish enough to enter the bar out of curiosity come out shades of what they once were. They wander out in a daze, as if having stared into the maw of oblivion, and listened to shrieks of eternity that resonated so deeply. The jolt through their soul could be felt physically. When asked by passing travelers what is in that bar, most are met with silence. Most never hear a peep out of these disturbed victims of that wretched place. On rare occasion, one individual, with a distance in their gaze, replaced by distress, or what some would even call panic, will utter a single phrase. I I don't get it. All of the people who enter that bar disappear shortly after departing, somewhere between the highway and their destinations. No one ever sees them disappear. There is never a trace of them, their belongings, or the horse they rode in on. It is the same in every case. In every case but one. Traveling along the empty highway after passing by the Greatest Comedian bar, a couple once found an empty vehicle in a ditch just off the road. They reported it and waited for the responding officer. However, when arriving upon the scene, the officer simply found two empty vehicles. There was nothing out of the ordinary in the one he assumed was the caller's vehicle, except for the eerie absence of its occupants. But when he approached the car in the ditch, he found an ungodly sight, one that words can never do the justice. In the car's rear driver's seat was a man with no skin, laughing maniacally. Covering the interior surface of the car was blood and organic matter in impossible amounts. It seemed organs had been put through a wood chipper and smeared all over the car, but with the precise control of a painter, as no part of the car would later be found free of the substances. The officer had told the man he could remain calm, that paramedics would be on their way, and for him to hold on. The man laughed even harder, as if a spawn of hell itself stood out of the car, against the calls of the police officer to remain seated. He stood there in the middle of the road, and as the officer looked on in horror, another passerby, seemingly out of nowhere, hit the manic passenger before coming to a screeching halt. Legend has it he'd be later pronounced dead at the scene, but not before the officer could report his last words. According to the officer, he said something out there in the middle of the road that nobody's ever understood, never been able to explain. Something that set him apart from all the victims who had simply disappeared into the night. Just before he was it, the manic passenger turned to the officer and uttered, "It's a joke. Don't you get it?"